right, Shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shah Bahashem Rakakwadash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples to us younger brothers, and peace and blessings and salutation to the hopeful lake out there pushing his word and truth and in sincerity across the four winds in the name of Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shah Bahashem Rakakwadash, pushing to get up out of here. Shalom to the hopeful lake, the believers, the listeners whom have came back to the obedience of the scriptures through faith in Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. All right, and what I want to get into, with this lesson, dealing with he that refused the correction, our people that refuse this correction, with the Wadi Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai for putting the spirit on us to humble down, all right, to this word, and that's a gift from on high, okay? First off, we was given the gift of a grace period, all right, through the sacrifice of Yahweh Shai. And within that, we was given the gift of faith. Matter of fact, let's get there real quick. And then we'll get into the lesson. So you go to the book of Ephesians chapter 2 and verse 8. It says, For by grace are you saved through faith, and then not of yourselves, it is the gift of the Most High. So we've been given the gift of faith. First we had to be given the gift of grace, the opportunity, okay, to come back, to Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai through faith, which is a gift. So the Wali Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai for the gift, that allows us to come back in these latter days, man. But we understand that there's a portion of our people, all right, 2/3, okay, they refuse correction, and we're not here, okay, to convince our people of anything. We're just here to speak the truth. We're here to teach sound doctrine. Okay, Yahweh Shai, never told the disciples to run Jake down. He told Jake to what? He told the disciples, to teach this word. All right, the apostles, he told us what to be instant, in season, and out of season. So here it is. You got this word going out year round. All right, day and night. Okay, all throughout the planet Earth, man. Okay, via the internet. And that's all we're tasked to do, to be watchmen, okay, to be teachers, to feed, the Lord's people with understanding, to prophesy, speak about what's to come, to give warning, you see? And that's all that we're, all right, commissioned to do. After that, it's on Jake. Once we teach this word, okay, and turn this camera off, that's on Jake, man. Okay? There's nothing we can do after that, man. You see? Yahweh Shai was never about gimmicks. Okay, he was never about, all right, trying to make the truth world friendly. If you was offended, you were just offended. Okay, the truth was gonna come out pure and raw. Okay, and if someone's offended, they're offended. That's between them and the Most High, man. You see? Now, when you go here, Proverbs 15:32, it says, "He that refuseth, all right, he that refuseth instruction." Despiseth his own soul, but he that heareth reproof getteth understanding. Yeah, so he that refuseth instruction despiseth his own soul. So and Jake think that they're doing us some type of harm, by despising his word, by mocking and scoffing and doing these testimonies of why I left the Hebrew Israelites, part 83. That doesn't do nothing for us, man. You, all right, are putting yourself it's like you're putting yourself in the hell of a predicament, man. Okay? You're refusing instruction. You're doing harm to yourself, man. You're being your biggest detriment. Okay? We don't lose 1 second of sleep about our people that don't get it. Our people that refuse correction, man. Okay? We're not here trying to do an outreach to niggas. We're not trying to fix the nigga woman. We're not trying to do all that, man. No, man. We teaching this word. If you're offended, you're offended. That's what it is, man. That's between you and Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, man. He gonna deal accordingly, okay? And that's the duality of the 2/3 and the 1/3. 2/3, okay? All right, they're meant to be hardened against this truth, okay? But 1/3, they're meant to receive this truth and grow in understanding, and become pleasing to Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, okay? So let's go from there. Let's get Proverbs. So let's get the book of Proverbs, chapter 29. In verse 1, it says, "He that being often reproved harden his neck shall suddenly be destroyed, and that without remedy, man. Because it's only so many times you get to refuse and be hard-headed against the truth. There's only so many times you're going to be allowed to reject, to mock, okay? Because judgment on the way, and it's going to come suddenly, you know? And you can tell it's a lot of our people, they're invested in being atheists now. They're invested in being scoffers and, you know, being the enemy to the truth, and all they want to talk about is a Hebrew Israelite. They're invested into these things. And why they're so invested into that, time is steady happening. Prophecy is steady happening, man. You see? So being invested into being a scoffer, you're just going to keep, and that's the thing, every time this word goes out and you refuse, you're just becoming numb to the truth. Okay? And all you're doing is running up the tab for your judgment. This is your tab. You're going to have to deal with that tab when judgment comes. Okay? There's a remnant that's finna receive spiritual power, favor. You know, hey, the Lord said we're going to have abundance and be merry. We're going to be a joy of heart. You know, we're going to be we're going to be good. Okay? You're going to have to deal with the other side. My servants shall eat and drink and have joy of heart. But wait, 2/3 which refuse to become servants in this grace period, they got to deal with the other side, man. You're going to have to deal with that. You're going to have to deal with famine. You're going to have to deal with wild beasts. You're going to have to deal with being at Esau's disposal. Okay? In these concentration camps, these torment camps. You're going to have to deal with that, man. Okay? For your refusal. It's going to be on you. Okay? The elect going to be in good estate. Okay? We're gonna have to go through uncomforts. Okay? When it comes to us rejecting. All right, this technology is MOTB. You see, we got to deal with betrayal. But we've been told these things, and the Lord going to put His Spirit on us to be able to deal with these things, man. Okay? So let's go from there. Let's get this in Jeremiah chapter 5, verse 3. Jeremiah 5 and 3, it says, O Lord, are not thine eyes upon the truth? Okay? Thou hast stricken them, but they have not grieved. Thou hast consumed them, but they have refused to receive correction. They have made their faces harder than a rock. They have refused to return. You know, and the Lord got it to where the more this word go out, the more hardened our people get. You know, you have a remnant that's growing in Yahweh Bashim Al-Shai, that's becoming more pleasing, okay, and compatible, you know, with their power. But then you have 2/3, they're making their face harder. You know, they're doubling down on wickedness, man. They're doubling down on their rebellion. You see? So they just made their face hard. And that's going to, see, that's going to be to their detriment, man. Okay? Because it's cute to be an atheist right now. It's cute to say anything you want about the Bible. It's cute right now to mock the prophets. See, these things are cute. But they don't understand the tab that they're running up. They don't understand that the Lord is pissed. Okay? And when it's time for the Lord to unleash their anger, they're going to have to deal with that, man. You see? They're going to have to deal with that real time. Okay? So, yeah, that's the scripture say. It's cute now. Okay? A lot of things are cute when it comes to mocking the prophets, mocking the Bible. All right? Questioning the Lord and being disrespectful and rebellion. And, you know? All these things are cute on the internet. These are the things, okay, that make for viral videos or whatever. Okay? These things get a lot of attention. You see? But our people are not understanding the tab that they're running up, man. Okay? That's going to have to be paid, man. And it's going to be paid in blood. The same shall know it by death, by pain. Okay? And the fact that there's written in there by pain, the Lord going to make sure our people feel it. You see, there's going to be an emphasis on their pain part. Okay? So when you go back into it, let's get this here. This is Proverbs. Going to what I was saying just then, Proverbs 15. And this is the book of Proverbs, chapter 15, verse 14. It says, the heart of him that have understanding seeketh knowledge, but the mouth of fool feedeth on foolishness, man. Okay? The heart of him that have understanding seeketh knowledge, Okay, so the Lord has the 1/3, all right, the hopeful elect occupied in seeking knowledge, man, gaining knowledge, gaining understanding, seeking after Him, you know, growing and being pleasing to our power. Okay, separate from this world more and more and becoming pleasing to our power more and more. Okay, you have a remnant that's becoming obsessed with it. Okay, but our people, they feed on folly. Folly is their fuel. You know, this is our people culture now. Okay, drill. Okay, unaliving each other, drugs, random hunching, and folly. You know, with the alphabet twist. That's the culture of our people now. Okay, they feed off folly. Okay, but they don't understand. All right, that there's a punishment for that. That at the end of their road is a punishment. You see, and that's why you see when you jump down to verse 21, it says I'm gonna read this in NLT, Proverbs 15:21. It said, "Foolishness brings joy to those with no sense. A sensible person stays on the right path." And you see that the scriptures is going, when you go into these precepts, it's going into the duality of 2/3 or 1/3. You know, our people, like I say, the foolish love folly. Okay, but to a personal understanding, the path of righteousness is the way. You know, and see, we're at peace. We're becoming at peace with righteousness, man. You know, like we're seeing, like, no, this is the only way to be. Ain't no way outside this, man. We're not curious, like Yahweh said, how we went thirst for other waters, man. And now that we really, you know, taking on, we're rehearsing righteous acts and really seeking the old paths, as the scriptures say, we're finding rest, man. We're finding peace, man. We're finding structure. Okay, we have an expectation beyond this world. You see? And that's peace that comes with that, man. But the Lord has to put the spirit, on someone, to come into that understanding. This is not of ourselves, man. That's why we have to be grateful and thankful that the Lord saw it fit to bring us into this thing, man, because we see the other side, man. And our people are begging for judgment, man. And Jake is out here begging for a judgment, man. The way that they're moving, and they're going to get it. Okay? The Lord's going to fulfill that order. Okay? Judgment coming right up, man. How about Shema Al-Shai is going to fulfill, all right, that order that niggas are begging for, man. Okay? So keep reading. Let's jump here. Because I said, we not tasked, all right, to chase you niggas down, beg you niggas, all right, to be you niggas therapists, okay, and to do community events. And nah, we not here to do that, man. Okay? Let's go here to the book of Titus, chapter 3, and verse, this is the book of Titus, chapter 3, and verse 10. It says, "A man that is a heretic, after the first and second admonition, reject." Okay? Let's read this in NLT. "If people are causing divisions among you, give a first and second warning. After that, have nothing more to do with them, man." So we're not tasked, okay, to go all out, okay, to convince anyone. If this word, the pure doctrine doesn't do it, there's nothing we can do. Okay? And we sleep well at night, man. Because we're doing everything that the Lord is requiring of us, man. And the Wali Halba Shema Al-Shai, we are not required to try to convince you niggas, man. Okay? We just here to teach the word, man. Alright? Verse 11 says, "For people like that have turned away from the truth, and their own sins condemn them." Okay? And a lot of our people are so far gone and have went so far dark, man, that that's why the Lord only wants us around, okay, the majority of our people like that, man. And they're doing this to themselves, man. They're done. Okay? They're just running up this tab that's going to have to be paid. Okay? I hope being cute was worth it, man. You see? So let's go here, and we end here. Let's get this in Proverbs 8. It's Proverbs 8 and 35, it said, "For whosoever findeth me findeth life, and shall obtain favor of the Lord Yahweh Bashim Shai." And we found life, man. We found favor, man. You know, you just meditate on there, like, man, look at the favor we found. It's almost surreal, you know, what the Lord is getting ready to do for his people, man. You know, Lord will we endure, man. It's almost surreal when you think about it. You know, and we found favor, man. We're comforted in the midst of the worst time ever. And we're comforted, man. You know, we want these times to come because we believe that he is, and we believe that Yahweh Shai is the Savior, man. We believe on the promises, man. Okay? Verse 36, "But he that sinneth against me wrongeth his own soul. All they that hate me love death," man. Okay? So our people, they're just digging the hole for themselves, man. They're just making Jacob's trouble that much harder for them. Okay? The punishment, that more severe for them. Okay? And at this point, man, hey, the remnant is growing. The body, you know, is maturing in the spirit. You know, brothers is active, man. You see, the fellowship is intensified. And, no, man, hey, the Lord doing a mighty work, man. You know, hey, the Wali how about Shema Shai, you know, that I can be around it, man. You know, so Lord will, you brothers and you few sisters edify once again. Give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakadash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders, GMS, who rule well, teach well, being great examples towards younger brothers. And peace and blessings, say to the hopeful that Shalom.